Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this amazing call where we'll be talking about Bitcoin and a little bit of Element. This training basically is about Bitcoin, and you're going to learn more about how Bitcoin works and some of the main things that you may need to know about about Bitcoin. Let me just. Okay, I have to make someone a host indeed so that I can be able to admit others. Okay, so let us actually get started. So before we get started, I would love to open up this call with one of my favorite quotes, which goes like, Bitcoin would do to banks what email did to postal industry. Okay, does anyone know the meaning of that? Bitcoin will do to banks what email did to postal industry. What does that mean? If someone can understand that, please comment in the chat box if you can actually understand that. Now, my name is Kuda and I'm based in Zimbabwe, and what you're seeing on my screen is a picture of me, and I really love to drink coffee. That's a picture of me just some few days before lockdown, and I normally love to sit at a certain restaurant and have my coffee, open up my laptop, check my emails, and some other things that I'll be actually that I'll be actually that I'm actually doing. And so I see a comment, someone says, uh, uh, people will not need banks anymore, money becomes digital. That's very correct. So yeah, instead of social media using you, use social media to impact the lives of others. So this training basically is just information purposes, and we're going to be talking about money, and what you're going to learn from this training is not, get me right, what you're going to learn is not investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't guarantee any future results at all. Okay, please get me right. We're going to be talking about money, and I don't want people to come back to me and say, could I say this, could I say that? I'm just going to share my knowledge based on my Bitcoin experience. I'll be moving really fast. I'll be moving really fast in this session. I need to make sure that I cover everything you need to know about Bitcoin. But in case you miss out some of the things, I have a Bitcoin for Beginners course, which covers what I'm going to explain in depth. Okay, if you can hear me loud and clear, please just comment in the comment section that you can actually hear me. And yeah, if you can hear me, just comment yes, you can actually hear me. So okay, absolutely, someone is commenting right there. So let's talk about the evolution of money. For you to understand how Bitcoin works, you should understand the evolution of money. Where did money come from? The money that we use, it's pointless for us to rush into Bitcoin and putting the Bitcoin into your bank account, converting the Bitcoin into cash without explaining the evolution of money. And it's very, very important that a lot of Element members understand the Bitcoin aspect on its own. So number one, if we look at the evolution of money, we started off from barter trade, okay? And we can take a guess from barter trade era, where did we move to, okay? We moved to gold, okay? People were actually exchanging gold for goods, okay? If you need maybe farm produce, you could give someone gold and then they give you the farm produce. That's the exchange that was actually there. And then from gold, someone came up with an idea, and their idea was like, okay, people are carrying a lot of gold. Can we not create something that's easy to move around with? And then someone came with the idea of fiat currency. If you're hearing the word fiat currency for the first time, fiat currency is the notes and the paper money that we carry around, that we used to buy in supermarkets and other different places. And then someone realized that a lot of people, they're carrying a lot of cash and they wanted something that's really, really easy to use. And someone introduced the bank cards that we use to swipe. You know, a card can actually carry a lot of money and you can just swipe, you can actually do a bank transfer. It's that easy, okay? So if you look at the evolution of money, people are, or innovators are just converting money into different methods, okay? But at the end of the day, everything that's happening carries the features of money. So who can take a guess after bank transfer, bank cards, what is the next technology that could be there in terms of money? Can someone take a guess? Can someone take a guess? Can someone take a guess? Okay, so let me just move on to the next step. The next thing that could be a that could be an alternative for money, or that could be the next technology for money, is Bitcoin. Okay, remember I said that could be, okay? We are living in a digital world, and innovators are trying to come up with ideas that can move money fast, money easy, and Bitcoin carries those features. So if you think of Bitcoin, I want you to think of money, okay? Just think of using it as money. So who created Bitcoin? Let's look at the people that are behind the idea of Bitcoin, because this information is really, really, really important, okay? Number one, Bitcoin was started in 2008, okay? According to the sources on the internet, Bitcoin was started in 2008, and it was created by a group of people, or it could be one person, no one really knows. And they called themselves, or she or he called himself Satoshi Nakamoto. And these guys, they actually created Bitcoin through a forum, and they would communicate with other programmers that look at the technology that we have created. We need to create money. We need this technology to make it easier for people to understand money. So if I would love to know what you were doing in 2008. Okay, some of you were at school, some of you were at work, some of you, yeah. So this is when the innovation actually got started. But right now, the people that created Bitcoin, the Satoshis that I'm talking about, these people, they are not known. Their identity is not known until to this day that I'm actually doing this training. The people, they are not known. Does someone wants to communicate something? I can hear. Is that you, Musa? Come again? Okay. Okay. So yeah, so I'm gonna give a chance to someone the people that are actually raising their hands, and I'm actually gonna give that chance. Okay, so I was saying that the people that are called, or the person that is called Satoshi Nakamoto, is not known until this day. There was a time when they used to communicate through forums, and all of a sudden they don't communicate anymore. And if you want to understand what they were creating or what they had in mind, there is a PDF file that you can actually download on Bitcoin, on www.bitcoin.org/bitcoin.pdf. So on this PDF file, you're going to see a lot of information, or details about the innovation of Bitcoin. It's very important that everyone goes through that PDF. You understand much better. So let us look at Bitcoin against the traditional currencies that we use today. Number one, Bitcoin is digital. Okay. So one of these days, someone actually asked me, like, so this Bitcoin, is it like a bond coin that we use in Zimbabwe? I was like, no, Bitcoin is not tangible. So if you look at the traditional currencies, they are coins and paper notes. If you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is decentralized, and the traditional currency is centralized. Let me explain what decentralized and centralized means. Decentralized simply means that there is no governing board that governs the Bitcoin community. There's no one owns Bitcoin. Bitcoins are everywhere. If I own Bitcoin, if Musa own Bitcoin, both of us, we own Bitcoin. So there are different people that actually that actually owns Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is produced by computers, which is known as Bitcoin mining. And when it comes to traditional currencies, Bitcoin is printed, traditional currencies are actually printed by the government. And Bitcoin is not a legal tender in many countries, okay? Since it's an innovation and uh, there is a legal tender that the government of any country should issue, okay? And Bitcoin is not that, okay? And fiat currencies and traditional currencies are legal tenders that are backed by the authorities, okay? And when it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is an open source. You can actually read the technology behind Bitcoin, and it's open to the public. And then when it comes to traditional currencies, uh, only the central banks keeps the ledger, okay? So the banks, the authority, the financial institutes, they are the ones that controls the traditional currencies, okay? And then when it comes to Bitcoin, there is anonymity, okay? And traditional currencies, we are looking at KYC policy. What I mean is, when you're using Bitcoin, it doesn't carry your identity. To start using Bitcoin, they don't need your ID, they don't need quite a number of things, but to open a bank account and keep your money, definitely you're gonna need quite a few things, okay? Now, why use Bitcoin and why now? The question is, why not back in 90s and different times? Okay, so the first thing is Bitcoin has seen incredible growth, okay, since its inception. What I mean is, from 2008 until now, I understand right now some people are hearing Bitcoin for the second time, or some people are hearing Bitcoin for the first time. But if you ignore it now, you're going to hear Bitcoin more often, okay? You're going to hear Bitcoin more often. So that means a lot of people are actually using Bitcoin. Number two, Bitcoin is getting accepted in more places, okay? Like for instance, right now we are in Elamant. Elamant has actually started using Bitcoin. That means it's actually being used there. So the growth is actually expanding. Some people use Bitcoin as a store of value. So instead of keeping your money in the bank or keeping your money under the pillow or keeping your money with your wife or your husband, I don't know where you keep your money, but some people, they actually convert their money into Bitcoin as a store of value, okay? Just tell us where you keep your money in the comment section. I'd love to know. Okay, so yeah. So, and then Bitcoin is increasing value. Like I said, when I started using Bitcoin, I think I started using Bitcoin somewhere around between 2014 and 2015. And one Bitcoin was about, I think, $300, one Bitcoin. And today, the price for Bitcoin, I think it's about 10,000. Okay, so I think today Bitcoin is about 10,000. So that's actually increasing value. Okay, so someone is saying I keep my money in the bank. Okay, oh, the price for Bitcoin is 11,000 today. Well, if you live in Zimbabwe, most of the people, they don't actually prefer to keep the money in the bank because of economic crisis and things like that. But anyway, people keep their money in different places. Now, what are the advantages of using Bitcoin? Let's look at the advantages. Number one, you can choose your own fees, okay? Like, I need to pay this amount of money for my Bitcoin to be sent. And business for merchants. What I mean by business for merchants, let's look at countries like Venezuela, okay? Countries where there is really, really economic and high inflation rates, okay? So in those countries, when inflation hits a certain country, what happens is a lot of businesses, they find other means for people to move money. And in countries like Venezuela, if you need to run your business there, you may have cash transaction challenges, okay? And because of the regulations, because you have to go through the authorities to start your business in different countries. And in those countries, you can actually use Bitcoin as the payment method where there is some cash challenges. And there's no politics control behind Bitcoin. Okay, that's one of the advantages. And there's privacy. What I mean by privacy is Kuda can send Bitcoin to someone else and the transaction is not connected to my identity, okay, like to my ID or my name or anything like that. That's actually a good advantage for many people, because at the end of the day, it is an advantage. And then payment freedom. Right now, if you walk into a bank, you want to send out money, anyway, the bank is going to ask the purpose of the funds, what is the money for, things like what is the return on investment, how much are you expecting to get back, quite a number of things. But when it comes to Bitcoin, no one is going to ask you any questions. What are the disadvantages of using Bitcoin? Let's not look at the advantages only. We need to also look at the disadvantages as well. Number one, a few merchants actually accept Bitcoin. If you walk into any supermarket or into any shop, you find that most of the companies or most of the merchants, they don't accept Bitcoin as form of payment, but a few are starting to adopt Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin is a developing currency. Okay, right now you are hearing Bitcoin and you're like, wow, what is this all about? It's because it's actually still developing and some of you are still confused. You know, I did a video explaining how to send Bitcoins and people were like, what had just happened there? So it's actually a developing currency, and in the future, we're going to hear more and more people talking about Bitcoin. There's limited awareness, okay? Not everyone explains Bitcoin in detail. You know, people just say this company accepts Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, but there's limited awareness in terms of education and cyber crime. That's the disadvantage, huge disadvantage of Bitcoin. Remember we said Bitcoin is not attached to your identity. I'll give you some of the good examples, some of the popular examples. There was a time in Zimbabwe when one of the schools was hacked, and the hacker got into the system for the school, and for the hacker to remove the system, uh, they actually demanded Bitcoin for the system to be unlocked. Okay, so that's the disadvantage of of Bitcoin. And also there was a story, I think it was a month ago, when popular major accounts like Elon Musk's Twitter accounts were actually hacked, and the hacker was like send me Bitcoin, I'll double it in the next 1 hour. Okay, and everyone who sent the Bitcoin there, really, the money was gone. And I think these guys walked away with the hackers walked away with a lot of money. So that's another disadvantage of using Bitcoin. So let's talk about a Bitcoin wallet. A Bitcoin wallet is where you keep and spend your Bitcoin. Now, there are different types of Bitcoin wallets, which I'm going to explain in the next slide. Now, there is no cost to create a Bitcoin wallet, or there is no limit to of the amount you can have in your Bitcoin wallet. There's no limit, and no one is going to ask you how much. Why is it you have a lot of money? And no one can freeze your Bitcoin account. Okay, and where I keep my Bitcoins, mostly my personal favorite is blockchain.com. Those who want to write down, just write down blockchain.com. Okay, so let's talk about the types of wallets. There is what is known as hot wallet. Hot wallet is the Bitcoins that you keep on your phone or on your website, and that's a hot wallet. And there is cold wallets. Cold wallets, there is a Bitcoin that you can keep on like a flash stick, okay? Like a flash stick, you can move your Bitcoins from the internet and put them on a flash stick. That is used for people who are long-term investors. Maybe they need to leave a legacy for their kids, so they can actually keep them. They can actually keep the Bitcoin on. They can actually keep the Bitcoin on the cold wallet. You're gonna learn. If my camera was on, I was gonna show you my cold wallet. Like it's more like a flash stick where I keep my Bitcoins. If I lose that, all my Bitcoins will be gone. Okay, so how to create a Bitcoin wallet? Like I said, my personal favorite is blockchain.com. That's where I actually created mine. And carefully remember your password. I have a lot of students of mine who actually created Bitcoin wallets and then they forgot their passwords with Bitcoin inside and they couldn't recover their Bitcoin again. And sometimes they lose sleep thinking about their Bitcoins that are locked in. Okay, if you have actually done any mistake, just comment in the chat box that you've done this and that. Okay, I'd love to hear from you. And how to receive Bitcoin. To receive Bitcoin is simple. After creating your account, you can actually send and receive Bitcoin. And to receive Bitcoin, locate in your account where it says receive or request section. Okay, once you do that, you're going to get a long, ugly letter numbers and letters, okay? A combination, capital letters, small caps, and all that. Please don't memorize this Bitcoin address. It's just impossible, okay? So the Bitcoin address is more like your Bitcoin, your bank account, where if someone wants to send you money, you just send them that code, and then they send you Bitcoin. Okay, how to send Bitcoin? The option to send Bitcoin is opposite to receiving. So let's say you want to receive money into your Bitcoin account. I've explained that if you need to send out, you have to click the send button and then you enter the Bitcoin address, which is more like the Bitcoin account number, and then enter the amount you're sending and then just hit send and then wait for confirmation. Okay, since we are talking of technology, let me explain what confirmation means. Okay, now if Kuda sends Bitcoin to Muta, okay, there is what is known as confirmation, which is between me and Muta, and it's done by computers, and that process is called Bitcoin mining. I'm not going to get into details about that. Now, the Bitcoin miners, they confirm the transaction between me and Muta, and it's done by computers automatically. Think of Bitcoin miners as the banking institutes, whereby I go into a bank, I go into the counter, I give them money, and then I give them the address that I need this money to be sent here, and then the bank is going to say, we are going to clear the funds for you. Okay, so that's the confirmation part. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, it can happen in a split of a second. Okay, or it can even take longer than 48 hours. It just depends with the speeds. And then transaction characters. When you're actually doing a Bitcoin transaction, number one, understand that a Bitcoin transaction is irreversible. Once you send Bitcoin is done, you cannot reverse it back unless if you know the person that you have sent the Bitcoin to, you can call them on the phone and say, can you send my Bitcoin back? If that's not the case, if you send your Bitcoin to someone you don't know, then Bitcoin is gone. Okay. And your account is not connected to your identity. What I mean by your account cannot be connected to your identity, it simply means when you send out Bitcoin, no one is going to know that you've actually sent Bitcoin. Okay. And then identities. Okay, I've just explained that it's fast, and it's global. If someone is in China right now, if they give me their Bitcoin address, in just a second, they would be having their money there in China without the use of the bank. So the money moved from me and it moved direct to the person in China without using the bank. When that happens, it simply means that the fees are cheaper and it's permissionless. You can use Bitcoin anyhow you want. You can send any amount. Imagine when you have money in your bank account, you go into a bank. Sometime back in 2016, I wanted to buy Bitcoin, and I was given a whole list of things that I'm supposed to provide to the bank for them to allow me to buy Bitcoin. But when it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is permissionless. When you're using Bitcoin, you can send any amount at any given time, and no one is going to ask you, and you don't ask anyone to do that. How to get Bitcoins? So let me talk about different ways of how you can actually get Bitcoin. Number one, okay, where was I? Okay, how to get Bitcoin. You can go to an exchange site. An exchange site, I wanted to think of an exchange site as a meeting place where people meet to exchange Bitcoin, where Kuda and Muta meet to exchange Bitcoin. It's just like a website where two people meet, and the website is going to stand as what is known as escrow. Okay, it's going to help you to protect the bias protection and things like that. You can go to your website. There are websites like blockchain.com. You can buy Bitcoin there. There is coinbase.com. There is luno.com, just to mention a few, but there's quite a lot. You can buy Bitcoin from people that you know, like, and trust, okay? So if I have Bitcoin, I can transfer Bitcoin to your account and then you give me cash, or you can do vice versa. If you have Bitcoin, you give me Bitcoin, I give you cash. And you can actually earn Bitcoin. What I mean by earning Bitcoin, just like some of us guys, we are doing quite a number of things in online. There are times, there are places where you do work and then you get paid in Bitcoin. And right now, Elamant at the moment is not paying out in Bitcoin, but when the time comes, it simply means you are earning from Elamant and you're getting paid in form of Bitcoin. Okay, so you can earn Bitcoin. And then how to lose Bitcoin through mistakes. So there's some sort of mistakes that people do in terms of using Bitcoin, and please avoid these mistakes. Okay, I see someone is actually asking a question, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions probably at the end of this session. Okay. Now, how to lose Bitcoin through error? Number one, forgetting your password. You should never ever forget your Bitcoin password. Okay. Number two, sending Bitcoin to a wrong address. I think I've actually explained this. Make sure if you're sending Bitcoin, you send to someone you know. If any issues, you can call them and they can actually rectify. When an exchange site is hacked, there was a time in, I think it was in 2015, there was a website where I used to buy Bitcoins. So at some point, they just claimed that their website was hacked, and that was it. My Bitcoins were gone, and these are some of the things that that actually happened. This is why I explained the different types of wallets where you can keep your Bitcoin. But blockchain really has been really awesome for me. Okay, and losing your cell phone. So what happens is when people you're losing a cell phone without doing a backup. So there is the technology behind Bitcoin is you can actually store your Bitcoin. You can actually store your Bitcoin on the internet, but at the same time you have to have what is known as the recovery code or the backup phrase. This technology is used when you lose your device. You can actually buy a new device, and when you enter that code, all your Bitcoins from your old phone or your old device is actually going to come back. Okay, that's those are some of the errors. Like I said, I'm not going to share everything. What can you buy with Bitcoin? Can you please someone comment in the comment section? What can you buy with Bitcoin before I actually move forward? I need to see if people know what they can actually buy with Bitcoin. And I see someone is saying, okay, the first thing that you can buy with Bitcoin is you can buy anything that money buys. You can buy in economies that are actually working. You can walk into a supermarket and buy bread. You can actually buy a car. So on this website, which is called bitrefuel.com, you can go there and buy airtime and quite a number of things using Bitcoin. You can actually go on B Forward. How many in Zimbabwe know B Forward? And what does B Forward do? Okay. How many of us know B Forward and what does B Forward do? Okay. Now, B Forward is a company that sells cars. Okay. A lot of people, they import cars from Japan. And if you go on B Forward and type in, can I pay for a car on B Forward with Bitcoin? You see the details that you can actually use Bitcoin to buy a car. And there is a website called Expedia.com, and this is a hotel and flights company. You can actually buy your hotel stay and Bitcoin with Bitcoin. And what you can actually do is just go on Google and search which companies accept Bitcoin. You're going to get plenty of companies that actually accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. And the other company is Elamant. Elamant has just introduced that they accept Bitcoin as form of payment for their membership. So that means that Bitcoin is being accepted in many places. And many people need to learn about what Bitcoin is when it comes to Elamant. I know um, I know a lot of people, they want to make money, but I encourage you to take time to learn what Bitcoin is. And some of the questions that people ask, can I convert my data points in my e-wallet balance to Bitcoin? Right now, that's not possible. And we are hoping that in Element, that will actually happen in the near future. I'm just not sure when that is going to happen, okay? When will people be able to withdraw with Bitcoin? Like I said, I'm not really sure when that will happen. So I'm going to leave time for question and answer. I know that I've been so fast, and I just wanted to make sure that I address what I wanted to address really, really fast. So anyone with questions, let's see. Okay, someone is saying, let's see, let me read the question. Most wallets emphasize that you keep your password and keep it safe because you lose your money. Okay, that's true. Thank you very much. Can we change e-wallet to Bitcoin? Okay, I've actually answered that. Disadvantage for Element to use for I don't know how to use Bitcoin. Disadvantage for Element to use as members don't know how to use Bitcoin wallets. It's a way of one-way street benefiting Element, not members. If you cannot transfer your money, otherwise need your balance. So yeah, that's one point that I've actually emphasized as well, that at the moment you can actually pay for a membership using Bitcoin, but like it's said here, it's one-way street. So we are hoping that anytime soon everyone will be able to withdraw their money via Bitcoin as well. Okay, I'm sure right now there is the card option that is being worked on. And yeah, I look forward if anyone has good questions. I see evidence you're actually raising your hand. Okay, can we exchange Bitcoin for Ether, for ETH? Yes, you can actually exchange Bitcoin for ETH. ETH stands for Ethereum. So Bitcoin was the first technology to be created, and there were some other currencies that were created after Bitcoin, which is Ethereum and other currencies. So yes, you can actually do that on blockchain. You can actually do the exchange. Most of accounts have expired. People don't have Bitcoin. How long before accounts are terminated? So accounts accounts that have expired, it takes about 60 days for an account to be terminated. Okay, it takes about 60 days. That is covered in the member policies and procedures. Okay, and is there a place where one can change Bitcoin into cash? I mean, an ATM. Yeah, there is a place where you can actually change Bitcoin into cash. And to do that, just go on to, you can go on to localbitcoins.com and sell your Bitcoin there. Someone will give you cash, or you can, it depends now with which country you are in. In countries like in the first world countries, it's actually much easier. In Zimbabwe right now, most people, they depend on buying Bitcoin from people. They depend on buying Bitcoin from people. In South Africa, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people using luno.com, luno.com. How do I, okay. And someone is saying, can I withdraw money from an ATM? Yes, you can actually do that on a Bitcoin ATM. You can go to a Bitcoin ATM and get out cash. Okay, so it depends with which country you are in. How do I open an account on blockchain? Are there any requirements? Just go to blockchain.com and create an account. That's how easy it is. The requirements that are needed is just your email address, and probably you have to do some of the lessons that I've actually done. I've covered a lot on blockchain. Okay, have you ever used crypto to cash? What is your experience with that? What do you mean by crypto to cash? Because if someone explains the word crypto, it simply means it's an umbrella term for all the digital currencies. Okay, so if you say crypto to cash, I really don't understand that question. So our meeting is left with, I'm supposed to hand over time to Mutsa because he is our host, and I think we have 4 more minutes to go. And Mutsa, I don't see any more questions here. And if you can take over, okay, it's an application where you exchange Bitcoin for cash. Okay, I've never used that. Crypto to cash, I've never used that. But myself, I use, like I'm saying, depending where you are, there are so many places where you can actually exchange Bitcoin to cash. Okay, the most common one that a lot of people use is localbitcoin.com. Okay, and in Zimbabwe, I also use what is known as CryptoGem. CryptoGem.global is another place where I actually convert crypto to cash. And someone is saying when we pay withdraw, it's going to see members being deactivated. When we use Paycars, do we withdraw data points? When we use, okay, on that one, I don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to be data points or e-wallets that's going to be moved into the pay card. Right now, the pay card is not yet there, and I really don't have answers. Okay, when you're done, Kuda, you can actually conclude the meeting. Someone is saying this Bitcoin, this BTC Elamant is going to see members being activated. Yeah, I actually agree with that, because a lot of people, they need to learn about Bitcoin, and that's what's there. And I guess people have to learn and be educated about it. Okay, what's the most usable wallet, Bitcoin wallet in Zimbabwe? Personally, I use blockchain. So if you go on Play Store, you're gonna see the blockchain option as well. You can see there's a blockchain app. That's what I actually use. So we have about 2 minutes to go. What are we supposed to do to renew our accounts? Our account is expired. We don't have to pay. So what are we supposed to do to renew our account have expired? So the purpose of this training, guys, was to learn about what Bitcoin is. And some of the issues, you may need to contact Elamant support and ask what's the way forward if you're having challenges with your account and other things like that. Because right now, myself, I'm just an Elamant member like any one of you guys, but I have a little bit of more knowledge about how Bitcoin works. So I wanted to make sure that I just cover the basics of Bitcoin, because right now everyone is just wanting to, the consultants, they want to renew their accounts, and they see this Bitcoin and they don't understand what it is. So that was the purpose of this session. If you have any questions with regards to the operations and what's coming in the future, I think you have to contact Elamant support. So any other questions? I'm about to go. And okay, I don't see any questions. So in closing, I would love to thank everyone. I would love to thank everyone for being on the call. And what I need to encourage you is, first of all, I need to encourage you to take time to learn about how Bitcoin works. It's very, very important for your business growth, for your future as well. Just go through the information. There's a lot of information on YouTube, on Google. I've given you the course. Learn about Bitcoin, how it works, and thank you very much for being on this call. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.